Welcome to Motivation Station Podcast, the hottest motivation show in your suburbs. Do you feel the daily routine is catching up and you need an extra dose of positivity? No more blue days. We will share how to rewind the time, live a happier life without stress or negativity. Are you a champion of your game? Let's go to Actionville. Introducing a woman who believes happiness is a direction and not a place, the host of Motivation Station Podcast, Tatiana D. She's on fire.
Are we having a good day today? This is Tatiana D. And I am feeling absolutely great today and kinda craving to ask you, are you hungry? What's on the menu? Okay. You're gonna think right now I'll be talking about some fried chicken and maybe fast food sophisticated burgers. Nah, I'm talking about being hungry for success. To achieve something, to make something meaningful out of yourself is something I always strive for, and I'm hoping most of us strive for. That's important to me. It's important to me to think positive, to be inspired, to stay motivated and focused. So, who is hungry to do all of that, to be all of that? Wanting something isn't enough. You must hunger for it. Your motivation must be absolutely compelling in order to overcome the obstacles that will invariably come your way. That's not exactly my words. Les Brown said that. He is one of the greatest motivational speakers of them all. So I'm just referring to his wisdom, and he is absolutely right. So, who is hungry for success, and mainly what is the recipe? How to overcome all those inevitable obstacles and to set your own mind to success. And I'm kind of thinking that I would be talking about this subject quite a few more times down the road, so please do not expect me to come up with all possible wisdoms I can cook up in the next few minutes. So, how do we go about getting our dreams? How do we become success-oriented? Because unless you have this core in your being to dare and not to depend on what other well-wishers people will tell you, what's good and what's not for you, in their own opinions, nothing gonna change and nothing gonna happen. So many people are going to 9-to-5 jobs. Some of them have 401k, health plan, savings, whatever other amenities they can have. Good for them, if that's what it's enough for them. And unfortunately, let me share with you, it would be enough for quite large amount of people. Well, good for them. But there are some people who strive to do more, to achieve more, and mainly to dare more. And it's not enough for those people to be labeled and boxed in. They always want to do more. And that's good. I've been working in the retail of all sorts for over 2 decades. In my early 30s, in my retail career, I went as high as being an assistant store manager for one of the locations of KB Toy stores here in Los Angeles in Sherman Oaks. Great store. I really enjoyed working there, but I don't think that they're around here anymore, at least not in Los Angeles. It didn't last me long. Life took me in a different direction for a while because I had small kids and my mom was getting sick at the time, so I had to step down. and leave the company. Eventually, a few years later, I came back to retail, but I was never able to go back as high to the operational level. There was competition, envy, seniority of others, and so many other components could be there to blame. However, one thing I know for sure, I would become eventually, sooner or later, I became unmotivated. Why? I was always working to make someone else richer, right? Because I was not working for myself. I was helping some other corporate gang to become bigger and stronger, as we all do. And what was there for me except for disappointment, being exhausted, and not to have enough energy to do anything different for myself? Not much. Eventually, I decided to do something different, and my passion for photography kind of took the lead, took charge. I started slow as a part-time, and on the weekends taking pictures of others. I was making a little bit money here and there, and I truly enjoyed it. However, I was too boxed in at the time in order to even dare, I would say, to allow myself not to be stressed out only how much money my next paycheck will bring to cover the bills, and how much money that paycheck would bring would always depend as to how many hours somebody else would schedule me to work for that week in the retail store. And it was never 40 hours, because in most of retails, they do not give you 40 hours, so you're not going to have all those amenities and benefits. So eventually I decided to start doing as a, part-time, that gig with photography. Do you think I had a lot of cheerleaders along the way? Absolutely not. Quite a few friends would come and say, "Oh my God, are you crazy, Tatiana, to start doing photography? Look in the yellow book." That was the time when we still had those yellow books. Oh my God, it was some time ago. So they would say, check out the yellow book and see how many other photographers are in Tarzana or in Encino or whatever other parts of Los Angeles. Guess what? Somehow I decided not to pay attention to their words, because I always had and still have this passion to create something with my camera. And actually it's a long story, because if I'm going to start talking about it, it's going to take me in a totally different direction. I love anticipate and kind of create the picture or the portrait in my head before I even take it. So when I look, I love to take portraits, to create portraits. So when I look at the person, I kind of see, depends on the personality, what kind of feelings I can evoke, because what we talk about and how we relax, it's all plays in our eyes and different expression and everything. So creating that perfect moment and seeing it through the camera and clicking the shutter button right in exact moment when there would be something special opening in the eyes of my subject, I would say, honestly, level of mastery I was able to achieve, and I'm proud of that, and I love talking about it. But my point is, I knew enough, I was strong enough in my beliefs that I can do it. That's why it was not really it didn't matter to me how many other photographers were out there, because each of us, we do things different way. And for a while, photography business was some sort of supplement. It never became for me the main money-making adventure, I would say. Anyway, I love doing photography, and it kept going. So eventually I had to come up with a way to display my work. So I started checking which platform will be available for me to create a website, my first portfolio. I went through different ones, and eventually I stopped by and chose Wix. And I would say that was a great day for me to do that because, yeah, within a couple of months I created my own website. I really loved it. I looked at it and I was proud. I thought like, oh my God, it's looking so good and stuff. That same year, and it was about 2014 or 15, Wix, which is another whole level of me to talk about. They are, in my opinion, absolutely unmatched web design and web hosting platform there is. Far better than WordPress or grandfather GoDaddy. Anyway, eventually they rolled out in 2015. They were training people to become web designers. So I got the email inviting me if I would be interested to participate in the course, and me being always creative, I love to create whatever I possibly can with my two hands. So I jumped at the opportunity, I enrolled in the class, and let me share with you that doing the assignment, it was almost like going back to high school because there was so many creative projects, testing, and so on. And finally, it resulted in me getting that sweet certificate of me completing Wix Web Design Academy, or whatever the word was back in the time. And that's how my journey with Wix started. I'd like to mention that this practically at this point, that's what I do for a living, and I absolutely enjoy it. I love it. I become over the years a full partner with Wix and web design expert, certified web design expert, and I have enough work to keep me absolutely busy. But that's the job or thing I used to do for quite a while as a part-time. Eventually, it evolved into a full-time gig, especially I kind of started doing it a full-time a year ago when pandemic hit and we were all locked in and boxed in inside our homes. So to me, it was a good thing, the new skills and everything, because I've become like really busy. But talking about positivity and sharing my ideas, it's kind of a big thing for me. I love talking to other people. I love coaching, mentoring, whatever the situation may be. And I had a couple of opportunities to speak in front of large audience of people during some networking events. It was way before the lockdowns when Zoom was not yet such a big thing as it is right now. So anyway, to cut the story short, I decided a few months ago to start this podcast. And again, nothing goes as planned because I got hit pretty hard with COVID, and I keep going back and forth, remembering a few things, how bad it was for me, and it was pretty bad. Some of you already know that. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, that working for someone versus working for yourself, that's a very good thing, because you are inadvertently becoming the master of your own universe. And yes, it's hard. There are going to be so many different obstacles along the way. It's going to be tons of things which you have no idea how to do and what goes along with it. Like when I'm talking about the photography, yeah, I know how to do camera and stuff and whatever, and Photoshop, but there were so many different things which goes into the account to take your time. The same thing like right now when I'm working with my websites. It's not just designing the website. It's following up with customers. It's creating quotes. It's following up on the request, and so many different things that sometimes I'm thinking, oh my God, I need to have a clone. I need to have a second me to help me. So actually at this point I kind of figured out situation with virtual assistant, because it's too many things to attend to. But I am happy. I'm happy with the things which I do for my living, and I'm happy with this passion of mine to be talking to you guys about what's important, about motivation, and why. All those whys and because. And why I'm happy to do that? Because I stood up on my own. Easy? No. It's never was easy, and it never will be easy. Challenges I have? The whole bucket. But the important thing is that I want to go on and not to be deterred by unmotivated people who sometimes give advice without any base of knowledge. Like I usually say, if the person never opened up his or her own business, but that person will tell me or any of you how to run your business, oh my gosh, would you really follow that advice? I hope not, because I sometimes strive how to find polite words to let the person know that he or she aren't even qualified to talk about what they have no knowledge of and just heard from somebody else. Please stay on your ground and keep the goal inside of you. Keep the vision. Be hungry for that success. That is important. Have you ever heard about the rule? It's called Goldilocks rule. How to stay motivated by using a Goldilocks rule. I recently read some story about it, some article on Google, and it kind of made an impact on me. Imagine yourself playing tennis, and you have three scenarios here. One, you are a grown-up person playing tennis with 5 years old. What's going to happen? You will enjoy a little bit, and you're going to get unmotivated because your skills are far beyond the 5-year-old child. Or maybe you got lucky and you are playing tennis with Serena Williams. As good as you may be, most likely, unless you are a tennis pro, you are not a match for Serena Williams. What's going to happen? She will get unmotivated with you, and you will get unmotivated by the game soon enough too. Why? Because her skills are far beyond yours, and challenge for you would be daunting enough. So, in order for us to stay motivated and go on and succeed, this rule of Goldilocks says that it's all about balance. It's about to give a little and gain a little. It's a key to be competitive or working on any sort of progress with people who are more or less at the same level of expertise as you are, regardless of whichever area of expertise we're talking about. It's about equality, approximate equality of interests or strengths, about the level. When you're leveled, you have few chances to win and few chances to lose, and you understand that someday you will lose, someday you will win, but you and your opponent, are learning something in process. You're mastering something in practice. It's about adequate places to go, adequate enough to push you further and not to burn you off, adequate enough to keep you going. Because this way you can focus better and distraction can fade away, and challenges actually are manageable enough to keep your interest and ego going. So, in other words, Goldilocks rule defines the key to maintain long-term motivation when tasks at hand are at the edge of current abilities. It is, guys, so true. Not too hard, definitely not too easy, just manageable or just right. By the way, the person who wrote that name is James Clear. I don't know much about him yet, and I'm planning to find out, but because it's not my own words, I wanted just to give credit to him. Now, I mentioned a different point here. Why, or rather, what are we basing on our persuasion or the dream? Persuasion of the dream. If we are going in just, again, I kind of need a glass of water to refresh my throat. But what I'm saying, if you are going to new business, what's there for you? What's there for us? Just to make money from the get-go? Nope, not gonna happen. And if that's the only goal we have in front of us to go in and do it, please don't. Just please stay on the couch and watch TV, because if you're going in only to make money, ain't gonna happen, because it's a wrong motivation. So it's always important to know what. Of course, like any business, suppose eventually, sooner than later, I hope, to start bringing you money, but money should not be that monetary icon or lighthouse to which we should strive all our energy to go to. Because if you think money, 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 but you don't have right idea or right content, money not gonna come either. So I'd say I've learned along the way over all those years and listening to all those motivational speakers and doing things of my own, that I have to have a vision first. I have to know what's my pain points, not paint, but pain points. Because even when I'm talking to someone, when they are discussing with me how to build website, I would always ask them first what they're looking for to get out of the website, why they need the website, what do they need it for, what kind of content gonna be there. So I want them to see the picture, them to know. And when they know what exactly they need and why, then I explain to them how it should be constructed. So we're going kind of like to web design anatomy, and I would explain you need front page, back page, whatever the words are, but I would explain to them how they need to have call to action buttons and stuff like that. People need to have a structure and the goal in order for them to do what they need to do, especially when it comes to their passion. Because passion without structure and without the plan, not even structure, but plan, just gonna stay a passion. Because plan creates an action. And I love kind of going back and forth and quote a friend of mine who would always say that when you plan, no, other way around, when you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. And the other really great phrase I kind of adhered to, and I'm using it, and I'm trying to get better because I'm not perfect either. It's the rule of 5 P's. P like Paul, 5 P's. Proper planning prevents poor performance. I'll repeat again. Proper planning prevents poor performance. And that should say it all. You have to have plan. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have certain qualification, expertise. And absolutely, you have to have passion for it. So I've started this podcast about 2 months ago. And while I was waiting, how they say, wetting my feet, I've learned what's working, what's not, and I've learned how to appreciate a baby steps. I know I have a goal and a plan in my head as to what I want to make out of this podcast, but I know that it's not written in a stone, and all those mini goals would be adjusted as I go to achieve the bigger picture, because that's the only way to go. So when I started when I published my very first episode, next day I went to check out what's going on, and I was actually shocked to see that I've got 11 downloads. And I was like, oh my God, that cannot be possible. So I refreshed and refreshed that Google Chrome browser. The number didn't disappear. It still was there. And I was ecstatic because I thought maybe in the next few months I'm not going to get even single download. So now, 2 months later, honestly, through Podbean, I have, I believe, 79 or 80 downloads. Is it enough for now? Yes, because it's baby steps. And then I'm checking which episode had more downloads, which less. So I'm kind of thinking, the message was clear here and less clear there. So I like to analyze. So that's my recipe to grow. And I hope that would be a recipe to grow for you too, to set the plan, to create attainable goals, to find how those goals and plans can be executed. What are your resources? What you need in first step? What can wait? Who is there to support you and be your cheerleader? Because that's important too. You've got to be accountable to someone. Because if you're not accountable, it's going to be really hard to do anything in order to, to go forward. So my point here, just go for your dream. And don't listen to those who have not done even what you've done by now. Be inspired by your dream. Have a vision for your own goals. Stay focused. Be motivated. And do not let anyone to tell you that you are not worth of whatever you think you are worth. That's important. Don't let anybody to clip your wings and bring you down. Because you will regret it later on. Life is short. And if we do not start thinking at certain age what kind of legacy we're going to leave behind us, then when we are in our later years sitting in a rocking chair and cannot do anything because of the health or whatever other issues, it would be really hard to realize and tell yourself, I wish I would have done that or this, because time is gone by then. Check yourself. Check your dreams. Do yourself a checkup from your neck up. Means use your thinking hat and realize what you need to do. Do you have a dream? What you are good at? I can take a notepad and talk to any of you and help you to find out what you are good, what's your good points, what's your good skills and strengths. So be good, create your dream, and never let go. And yesterday I was announcing that I'm starting a 30 days challenge of what I'm grateful for. So here's what I wrote in my notebook, what I was grateful for yesterday. I am grateful that I started building up my walking on a daily basis. Again, going back for a second to the COVID times. Before COVID, I used to walk and hike a little bit here and there. When I woke up on my second day in a hospital with COVID, it was pretty depressing. And when I got out of my bed and was barely able to make 50 steps, guys, just 50 steps alongside, few times along the bed, it's practically was like 3 lengths of the bed, 15 steps from one wall to another along the bed. I was terrified. So for the next 8 days in the hospital, I was pushing myself out of the bed to walk, and when I was leaving the hospital, I was able to make 300 steps that day. Hallelujah! I was happy. because even my doctors were telling that I was making quite a good progress, and they were very impressed with me walking. It's been, barely over 3 months since I've contracted COVID. And of course, I do have a lot of after effects, like my heart is racing unexpectedly, quite fast at the times, plus some other issues, but I'm working on it. But mainly, I know that I've started pushing myself, and at first it was like very low pace steps, then a little bit faster, and 3 months later, I am able to walk 3 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, between 5 to 7 miles a day. 5 to 7 miles a day. And I cannot be more prouder of myself just for doing that. So, of course, I have a lot of other things to put on the list, but that was the main one for me, because last week we had pouring rain here in Los Angeles. It happens just once a year, mainly in February. And it was pretty windy, and I'm too terrified to get sick and catch a cold again. So I wasn't walking for about like a week or so. So when a couple of days ago I restarted my walking, I was exhausted. So I kind of lost a little bit of the strength. So now I know that no matter what, I have to go and walk. My goal I've set for myself, 8,000 steps a day. And I don't do it like in one stride. I do maybe like 2,000 in the morning or 3,000 in the morning, then some in the middle of the day and some at night. But I know that for as long as I can walk, and eventually I want to do more than 5 to 7 miles a day, I want to do more. I'll be fine. So that's what keeps me going, and that's what I was grateful yesterday. And again, I would be very interested if anybody picked up on my challenge and would share with me what they're grateful for. You don't have to do 30 days and write it down everything the way I am doing. It's just for me. But if you will do it like 1-2 days, whatever good pace for you, it's fine. And I would love to hear it from you. And as always, I hope that I'm sharing enough positive messages, because my messages are tailored to inspire, encourage, empower, and share my knowledge and expertise, my passion, with those who needs it. I am the cheerleader of my own universe. I believe in a better good in people around me and in myself. Why? I can do so many different things because I believe in myself. And so should you. That's a wrap for another episode. Like you know, I'm very passionate about what's real and vulnerable for most of us. This is the year 2021, and I talk a lot about how to navigate through the challenging times for our new now, without losing a clear head and without succumbing to fear of uncertainty and depression. Are positivity, motivation, and inspiration the answers? They should be. But let's find out together. You can always find me on Instagram at Motivation Station Podcast, iTunes, and Google Podcast. Please make sure you will leave a review. That will help other cool people like yourself to find my episodes quicker, and hopefully they will get as excited as you are. Thank you for all your comments I get through the email, because you are awesome. Think positive, be inspired, stay motivated, and most importantly, stay focused. Have a wonderful, awesome, positive day, and we will talk soon.